made weed. So weed should be enjoyed. That's when you don't have vision for what's going on. As a pastor, I have prayed with countless people who 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, now struggling with insomnia, panic attacks. You see, that's the stuff that they don't tell you. You know, it's entries. No, big. You don't understand. You're opening your life to the enemy stepping in. And what has happened is our country, our city has lost a vision for what God has called them to be, who he's created them to be, so they're throwing off restraints. And it's so important that we, as the people of God, understand that there's blind people around us, and it's our job to help them restore their sight. Let me tell you something. You don't drop out of high school in the 10th grade when you have a vision for your life. You don't leave your family and your children when you have a vision for your life. You don't run your company dishonestly and hiding funds and mistreating employees when you have a vision for your life. The #1 problem in this country, in this city, is that we've lost the vision of God. And it is so important as the church that we realize it's my job to restore the vision of people around me. People should be able to look at our marriages and say, that's what a kingdom marriage looks like. People should be able to look at our finances, about everything about our lives, and say, that's the best. That's what God has for me. We have to know what's going on. Someone asks, look at somebody around you and tell them, do you know what's going on? Ask them, can you see what's going on? But here's the thing. God has placed us in this city. God has placed us in this area, and this is the area that we ought to have a passion for. We're actually going to show a video. If you have that, you can throw that up. Just a little graphic of what our city looks like. Within a 10-minute drive of this location right here, there are 37,879 people within 10 minutes of Destiny Harvest Church. Somebody say that's a lot of people. And I was doing a little bit of just research and different things, and this is what I found. If all 37,879 people decided one Sunday, I want to go to church, I want God in my life, this is what would happen. Only about 12,000 of them would be able to fit into church. There are not enough churches in this city to reach this city. Somebody say that's a problem. So what we have is we have people who have no vision, who need vision, and we have a church that where we are right now, we are incapable of reaching the need that must be met. Not to scare you, but that has nothing to do with the 2.7 million people that live in the Baltimore metro area. Somebody say that's a lot of people. I'm not going to worry about the 2.7. We're going to take 37,000. We're going to start there, and we're going to hit 2.7 when we get done with 37,000. But here's the thing. There's no room. There is no space. Something must be done. And when we get the vision of God, that's when we realize, hold on, I need to go somewhere. I need to do something with what is going on in my city. Somebody say amen. Now, here's the thing. Destiny Harvest Church is rocking. Somebody say rocking. God is moving in this church unbelievably. We've literally doubled in the last 3 months. Can you believe that? I don't know if you've noticed this, but we realized we had a problem sometime around this summer that there was no room. So we said we have to add a second service to make more room. Look around. There's no room. We added another service and it just got filled up. There's literally no room. Last Sunday alone, we had 22 brand new people who came here for the first time. Since September, we've had over 152 people that have come for the first time. And those are only the people that filled out the Connect card. Give yourselves a hand because you guys are working out here. Come on now. We're doing what God has called us to do. And let me just give you just a little bit idea of where I see us going. Right now, we have about 300 people that come to church every Sunday that call this place home. If we stay on the track that we have, by this time next year, we will be pushing or close somewhere between 500 and 700 people. Somebody say that's a lot of people. I was just praying and just thinking and a couple other things. If that is the direction, we're believing next year that we're going to see 700 people come to Christ. How many people would like to see that? Come on now. How many people you would love that to be a husband or a wife or a child or a cousin or a co-worker? I want somebody that I'm connected to be one of those 700 people that we're believing coming to Christ. Now, I'm throwing these numbers out. Let me tell you this carefully. These numbers are not prophecy. Because we set these numbers last year, and you, and through God, has already surpassed all the numbers that we set for 2012. So we're not saying this is what it is, because God may go far beyond that. But we're saying, based on the way things have been going, this is what it's looking like. That there'll be, and this is where you need a shout, over 250 people on the dream team volunteering. Come on now. Come on now. We're believing that there's going to be over 350 people in small groups by this time next year, and that the children's ministry is going to be close to 100 kids. Somebody say that's a lot of kids. That's a lot of kids, right? And that has nothing to do, and I'm not going to scare you, so I'm not going to go on to the projections for 2015, but I'm just seeing as this thing is going, what God is doing through this church is major. And here's the thing that's so important. We are working, we're pushing, we're providing, we're doing everything that we can do. But do not be mistaken, it's a God thing. Somebody say amen. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but if you've not, you're looking at it. This is what the church calls a move of God. I'm telling you, and I wish you could see behind the scenes for what goes into Sunday mornings. Sometimes we have things planned out perfectly, and it goes opposite to the way that we planned. Sometimes we have nothing planned. We're running around with our hair falling out, and the presence of God just falls. Things move like never before, and we're just like, I could have slept last night if I knew God was just going to. It is a move of God. You know, Easter is usually the largest attendance Sunday of the year. We at this church strategize and game plan. How can we get people in this building? So we've been pushing. We worked really hard for the baggage series that just came. In November, we were just saying, okay, we're just going to worship God because we can't work any harder. Last Sunday was the largest attendance Sunday in Destiny Harvest history. Come on now. We didn't plan anything. We didn't strategize. We slept the night before. But God is just moving through this church. You know, I picture it this way. If you ever seen one of those sailboats, you'll know that the boats have this big crew, and there's these people running all over the ship to get it ready. And there's people at high heights putting up the sail, and there's people running the rudder and all this different kind of stuff. But how many people know it does not matter how hard they work unless the wind blows? That ship isn't going anywhere. This is the role that we play in this church. We're putting up sails, we're putting out rudders, we're pulling up the anchor, and then we're crying out to God, mighty wind, blow, and move in this place so that we can fulfill the purpose and the plan that you've placed us in this city for. Somebody say amen. Matthew chapter 9, verse 37 says this. Then he said to his disciples, the harvest is truly plentiful. You're telling me 37,000 worth of plentiful. But the laborers are few. Therefore, pray the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into the harvest. Here's the deal. This is what God was saying. He was saying the issue is not reaching the city. The issue is having enough people who have a passion for the city to go out and reach it. And having enough space that once you've reached that city, you're able to love on those that are coming in and encourage them and help them become all that God's called them to be so that they can go out and do the same. Jesus literally said, you heard us singing that song, you're the Lord of the harvest, and we worship you. You know what God was saying was, he says, don't worry about the city. I have the city in my hand. What you as the church need to worry about is the rallying cry, telling people, hey, let's get together. Let's put our hands to the plow. Let's get involved in what God is doing so we can see our city turn back to him so that the favor of God can rest on this place. Somebody give me a mighty amen. Here's one of the things that it's so important to know about the church, and I say this every time in our membership class in 101, and it's this: the church is here, and this is where we're encouraged, this is where we're strengthened, this is where we find community, this is where we find joy, this is where we get vision for our life. All of those things happen in this place, but it is so important to remember the church doesn't exist for me. You know, whenever you get into the place where that church exists to meet my needs, you will be disappointed with the church. Because that's not what Christ created the church to be. Yes, it's where we grow. Yes, it's where we're built up. Yes, it's where we find destiny. But this church exists for those who aren't in here yet. The purpose of, somebody give me a better amen than that. Come on now. This church exists for this city. It exists for my cousin, who I need to come back to Christ. You know, when it comes to a city and it comes to people and thousands and all that, sometimes it's really easy to say, yeah, they need God.